Hi there, it's Vanessa Baker from Confetti Card Studio, and I'm popping on today to share one of my favourite papers from the current catalogue, and it happens to be on sale this month. So let me just turn the camera. Okay, so we've got the Country Woods Designer Series paper, and this is the paper here. So you've got, on one side, you've got sort of wood shiplap sort of look with colour, and then the other side has more of a wood grain effect on the papers, and I've been using these a lot and just totally love them. I used them recently in June actually for an event called Craftable, and this is the card that I demonstrated at that event. It's a standing easel, so when it's scored through the middle, so it you just hook it under the little stopper on the side and then it will stand up on its own. And to go with that, we did a little gift box made with the birdhouse, which is so cute. I just love this. The two stamp sets are Country Flowers and Country Birdhouse, and they coordinate really well together, but you can also use them, one or the other. And they have coordinating dies as well, which is where the little birdhouse came from. So today I thought I really like this card design, and I've been making a few of them, and I thought I would do something slightly different with it, with different papers, and just sort of like case my own card. And I have also cased a little bit from Rochelle Block from Australia, and I'll explain as I go about that. So first off, you want to start with a card base. And this is just the normal, I work in metric, so this is my normal size, and then I'm going to score, I've got my score line through the middle. I'm going to score it again, and in metric it's a little bit of a funny measurement. It's 5.25. So I'm going to go just in between there and do that score line. So that gives us our fold for the center. So we'll just crease those score lines. So that's going to be a mountain fold. Like that. So that's our base already. And then I've gone ahead and cut some of the designer paper. This time I wanted to use this colourful, reminds me of like a beach house, you know how it would be painted. So that's going to go on the front. Oops. Just smooth that glue out a wee bit. We don't want big blobs like that. So these are cut just a little bit smaller than the measurement here to give me a little border all the way around. Yeah, so like I say, the Stampin' Up! Have this paper and quite a few other papers on sale this month at 15% off. So just putting this next one on, making sure it's the same way I've got the pattern running across. Okay, now I have my focal point for the front. I have gone ahead and embossed that with the Eyelet 3D embossing folder. So on my sample here, I used one called Fun Patterns, but I decided to change it up and use the eyelet, which is actually the one that coordinates with the suite. So I've already embossed that, and I, excuse me, I'm going to use the reverse side of my paper that I used there, and so that I can see a little bit of this eyelet popping out from behind, I thought I would just do some tearing on this. Just for something a little bit different. I'll just go across like that. And then you can also distress this a wee bit. So lately I've been using my bone folder. It doesn't rough the paper so much that you get little bits flying off, but it just sort of bends it and gives it a distressed look. So I just rub it sort of on the edge. I'm just sort of like creasing the paper, and then on the corner I'll do a bit more of a curl, and then just carry on. So it's not really roughing it up, it's just distressing it slightly. It's harder on smaller areas where it's just do as much or as little as you like. Just roll that corner a bit, make it look a little bit old, and then I'm going to adhere that down. So again, this layer was cut just a little bit smaller than the one underneath it. Right, and then I think we'll go ahead and attach that layer. So I just almost forgot a vital step. We need 2 circles, so they can be any size. Oh, didn't mean to make it that loud. I'll do the other one over here. So I've just used a 1 3/4 circle punch, and you just fold them in half and give them a crease. And we're going to put these on the front, and you want it so that they're going to go in the middle, and you want the fold to be towards the center of the card, and I'm just going to put it on the edge of my edge of my designer paper. So this is going to act like a little hinge. And then just make sure we do this one the right way around. So it's going to go that way, so I'm going to glue there. And just line them up so they're even. Now I'm going to put the glue on this side of the circle. And then that's where my focal layer is going to go, in the middle. Make sure it's going to stick. And then you'll see when the card is standing, that layer pops forward. You've got those hinge parts there holding it. So that's how you do that little mechanism. Now if we work on the focal point, so this is the part that I am casing from Rochelle, and she made an amazing card. Oh, I forget the name of it, but it all opened and you had all these different sections and the paper looked fabulous. But I really liked her, on her belly band holding it together, she had this little focal arrangement that I thought was really cute. So I've got my stamp here. So this is the flower from the Country Flowers stamp set. I'm just going to ink that with Memento because we're going to be using blends to do the colouring. I just love that stamp. So pretty. And we're going to use a few different blends, and I'm not the world's greatest colourer by any means. That one. But I do like how easy it is to use the blends, and I think that sometimes things, when you first colour, I find that sometimes I think, oh, I don't like it, it's a bit dark or whatever, but it seems to, just over an hour or so, it just seems to really change and the colours soften, and I really like that. So I'm going to start with Pool Party on this flower, and I tend to work, I like to start with the light colour and then add my dark, and then add some more light to blend them together. I think everybody has their own favourite way of using these. I also find nowadays I like to use this end. When I first started, I like to use the paintbrush end, but I find I actually have a lot more control with this firmer tip. So now I'm just adding in some shading where it would sort of be darker naturally in a flower. And you don't have to use blends. You could use watercolor pencils if you have those, or if you don't have those, you could buy blender pens and just use the ink out of your ink pads. So if you give the ink pad a little squeeze, you get some ink in here, and then you can use a water painter or a blending brush to pick up that ink and do your colouring that way. So there's lots of choices. And then then I would just go back over that, mainly the join where the shading is, and just blend that a bit more with the light. So each blend has a light and a dark version of the colour. And we'll do, oh, that's all of the Pool Party actually. We'll do some of the, that's the dark, I want the light. So even on a larger flower like this, I would still go with my light and this tip. Get the colour on there, and then I come in with the dark. Oops, that happens sometimes. The lids are very tight for a reason, because they're alcohol markers, so you need that firm lid, but sometimes it does pop everything out. Okay, so again I'm just going to go in here where it would be darker with my darker shade of the same colour, like that, and then just blend a little bit of the light one over that join. Okay, and then the other thing I would do is, if you want to, is to come in as well with the colour lifter. Now the colour lifter, I don't know exactly what it's made from, but it's sort of like a bleach, is how I would describe it. So it will just make, wherever you touch it on a coloured area, it will just lighten that colour. So if we just go maybe with the tips of the, so that's only had one coat on the tips of the light. So if I just come in with this, it's just going to make those tips even lighter. And then the same with the the pink flower here, so we can just go on the edges of it and just lighten that ever so slightly. And we're going to put some lemon lolly in the center, those two. Now for the blue flowers, I did use a different combination. So normally you use the light and the dark of each one, but this time I'm using the light of two. So I've got the light balmy blue and the light boho blue, which gives a really nice contrast. Oops, that one was meant to be pink. Oops. Got it carried away there. And I might just colour this flower at the same time. So I'm going again with the lightest of the lights. So the balmy blue is lighter than the boho blue. Doing that one first. To carry on now with that one is a blue flower. Then I'm going to come in with my boho blue and do the shading. You don't need a lot of the darker one, you can just put a few dots and it's just enough to give you the contrast. And then just blend out those parts there, just so you get, it gives you 3 gradations of colour by doing 2 coats of the blue just over the darker colour. It really gives you 3 different colours. And then we can also use the colour lifter just on this flower, maybe just to lighten those tips again, so that gives you another colour, you know, another layer. Okay, it looks like we've just got some pink flowers. And then the leaves. So the leaves I'm using Mossy Meadow, the light and the dark. So we have another craftable event coming up in October, and the tickets are available now at the Craftable website, which is craftable.co.nz. And that event's going to be on the, did I say the 5th of October? Which is also World Card Making Day, coincidentally. And this is our Christmas event, which we do every year. We have 3 events a year, but the Christmas one is the most popular. So if you want to grab a ticket to that, then I would suggest you jump on our website and do that. And we have some little scissor charms that we did for our last event, and we had some left over, so we're just announcing today that we're doing a giveaway. So the first 10 people that register will get a scissor charm. So that's my one there, and that you just loop over your scissors. I've got already a previous, that was a shrinky dink that we did a few years ago, but yeah, we've got these really cute butterflies in different colours. Okay, so I'm going to cut out my shape. I realise I should have done that beforehand. Actually, I will use my mini machine here. Really good for small dies on the desktop. Oh, I've lost a plate. Okay. Hopefully this one will work. Oh, actually I know where it is. It's actually the bottom plate. I like to try and keep the top plate a bit nicer, because they do inevitably get the cut marks on them, but try and keep the one you use on the top a bit less cut. I think it's nice. Okay, and then you can swap it around and put, when you need to replace the bottom one, you put the top one becomes the bottom one, and you get a new one for the top. Okay, so the first thing I want to put on, oh, now this shape, that was from the Spotlight on Nature dies. There's a whole bunch of circles that it cuts, different sizes with different edgings, and it's the first time I'm using that, so I'm quite pleased to be breaking it out of the box, as it were. Right, I've just got a piece of tear and tape there. And the first thing I'm going to do is just take some linen thread and just make a couple of loops. When your linen thread is a bit kinky, because it comes off a roll like this, so sometimes it needs a little bit of straightening out. So you can just get your bone folder and just give it a couple of goes like that, and it just takes those kinks out and makes it easier to use when you're going for a certain sized loop. Okay, I think that's about right. We'll just cut that bit off. Okay, and then I've got some leaves that I've cut from grey granite and mossy meadow. So they're going to layer up on the side here. I'll just stick those with liquid glue. So it's going to come off the edge, so I'll just put glue on those bits that will be attached. So I've got the grey granite one, and then the mossy meadow is going to go over the top. Just offset them a bit so you can see both. And then I'm doing the same down here. Oops, it stuck to my finger. I've just realised I forgot to use my microphone. Hopefully the sound is okay. Right, now we're going to add our coloured flowers, and I'm actually wondering, yeah, I might just put them on flat. I was going to dimension them, but I think it's going to end up, because there's quite a thickness there, so I think I'll, so you can use glue dots in a situation like this as well, but I'll just, speed, I'll just put liquid glue, and so I've got my leaves sticking out, and you can just angle these flowers to suit, and they'll probably overlap a bit in the center, which is okay because we're going to cover that. Okay, so in the center I've got some words here, which is hoping you have the best day ever, which is a really sweet sentiment. You could use that for lots of occasions, and it's going to be heat embossed in white. So this is Versamark, and then stamp that down. Oh, and I use the embossing buddy at the beginning there. That just helps it to take the static off the paper, so you don't get powder sticking where you don't want it. And that worked out really well actually that time. So now I would heat that. I've actually got one I've done earlier, so you don't have to hear the heat gun. I've put it somewhere safe. Here it is. Okay, I just love that font and the way it's got the dots in between the words there. Beautiful. So now I'm just going to do a little flag end on this, on both ends. They don't have to be exactly the same. It's all part of it being handmade. Okay, and then that goes on dimensionals. So I want, actually I might put the dimensionals on the card. Oops. Instead, because otherwise I'm sort of guessing where they go there. So I'm going to put one on each side. Is that where I want it? No, I don't want it to go. I want it to go through there. Yeah, I might actually need to use a small one on that side. It's looking a little bit large, so I'll swap that one and get a small one. I actually want it sort of there. Because I don't want it exactly, I don't want the sentiment looking like these, I want them offset, so like sort of like that angle. I think that will work there. Okay, and then that will go on the front, and I want the words straight. So I'm just going to do that with liquid glue. Something like that's enough. And pop that on the front. And then lastly, we need our little stopper. So I was waiting till this point to see which colour. I wasn't quite sure what to use. So either the blue, which is nice, or this is grey granite. No, I think the blue. Tie it in with the card. And then because you want this to rest against the stopper, the dimensionals need to go towards the edge of the card. So rather than going through the middle, you want them on the edge. And the little ones are perfect for that. Okay, so those dimensionals are going on towards this edge of the card. You can have a little white, actually a little white gap there would be quite nice, I think, rather than it being right up against the edge. And then you can tuck that in and your card will stand up. I just want to add some iridescent pearls. Got to have a little bit of bling with everything. And oh, I know, I'll just pick them up. I've got a little mess there where I had that dimensional that I moved, so I'm going to put them here. A little bunch like that, and then another couple down here. That was what Rochelle did, and I liked that look. So we've got 5 on there. Now the inside, I would normally do something stamped. I haven't prepared an inner actually. I'll just quickly do one now. So my inners I do at just slightly less than my outside measurement. So the outside measurement for metric is 10.5 by 14.9. So I do 14.4 by 10 for my inner. And I think I will just stamp that same pretty flower from the front. On there, and could have done it in the colour, but I've inked it up now with the black, so we'll just go with that. And I won't colour it, I'll just leave it black. And I prefer just to put the glue down the side of my inner. Oh, now I've made it too big because I've got my stopper. I forgot about that. Okay, so your inner would go. I will have to fix that now. I'll have to chop off that gluey end and move it across. But that's how you would do that. And that's how you hook the card in there like that for standing up on display. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Another take on my craftable project. And here's also another one I did as a display for the craftable event. So that one I used the DSP down the side, and I used that fun patterns embossing folder instead of designer paper that time. So there's so many different ways you can do the same card, which is, you know, something that is really fun and that I love about Stampin' Up. So yeah, don't forget the designer series paper sale till the end of the month, 15% off, and also our craftable event in October. The first 10 to register will get a little scissor charm. Thanks for watching.